You feel this nervousness on the phone there?
Sir, I've been trying to make an urgent phone call up there.
Well, I don't think it's something I want to do on an overseas phone.
You gotta make some phone calls. Hang up the phone. Prank caller.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome once again to Packernet After Dark. This is the call-in show of the Packernet Podcast Network. If you'd like to call in, if you'd like to participate in the show, please feel free to do so. The phone number here is 608-501-0718. New callers go directly to the front of the line. Looks like we do have a new caller, actually. Just must have come in. It's the most recent call. Let me make sure there's no others. I don't think so. Bing, bang, boom. Right here we go. New caller, what's up?
Hey, Ryan, it is another Jersey caller.
Jeez.
Wow, I feel like a lot of your audience is in New Jersey. This is Jersey Matt. I have been a long-time listener, and I guess you could say this is my first time calling, but I have a question for you, Ryan. I want to pick your brain. You cannot weasel your way out of this, not saying that you're a weasel, but you have to give me a yes or no. If you had to bet the house in a 5-year period, will Green Bay win a Super Bowl in the next 5 years? You got to bet the house one way or the other, yes or no, and why? All right, thanks, Ryan. Keep it real, brother.
Oh, boy. That's really difficult. I feel like that's an easy one for a lot of Packer fans. The answer is yes. I really struggle. I mean, it's just the whole it's hard to win thing. That's really all it is. I mean, look, next 5 years, if you just go through the list of teams that are likely to win, that you could do this for. Do you think the Eagles are going to win in the next 5 years? I think there's a good chance. You think the Lions are going to win in the next 5 years? I mean, we could say no, but it's hard to say that at this point. Do you think the Chiefs are going to win? Yeah, at least one, if not two or frickin' three. Are the Bills going to win? Feels like it. Are the Ravens going to win? Certainly feels like it. And then there's a bunch of other teams that are going to rise up out of nowhere that are going to suddenly be good. Freaking Vikings, I don't know. It makes it difficult. I think the optimistic Packer fan in me wants to be like, yeah, for sure. I think the analytical part of my brain is saying the obvious answer, the easy bet is no. And that's not for any reason because I think the team is bad or because I think that they're not ready. I think they're good, but I just think they're in a pile of more than 5 teams that are also as likely or more likely to win a Super Bowl. So I know what I should have done and just said, oh, yeah, for sure. But I think that is my honest answer. I think that, the odds are not 0, but I don't know, 20% chance they win in the next 5 years. I know that sounds crazy because it feels like they got a 20% chance like this year. So maybe it's a little higher. Call it 35, 40-ish. I don't know. Less than 50% that they win in the next 5 years is how I feel about it. And again, that doesn't mean it's a bad team. That's just how I view the difficulty level of winning a Super Bowl. It's just very difficult. That's why I don't expect it. That's why I don't throw a temper tantrum when the Packers don't win a Super Bowl. Or go on a tirade about how our GM must suck and everybody sucks, the coach sucks, and fire everybody, blah, 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 blah. That's not correct. Believe it or not, it's entirely possible that you have a great team with a great coach and a great GM and you didn't win the Super Bowl. Happens all the time.
Hey, Ryan, Raider McCready from Missouri.
Sup, man?
What a tough loss. But, hey, what a game, though. Lots of ups and downs, lots of lead changes. Everything you love in a game, just not to win. You got to beat the refs. There is that. But, I do feel like they kind of handed them this game. I'm looking at that article 1 C and D. You already went over C pretty good, but you go down to D. It says when a runner declares himself down by falling to the ground or kneeling and clearly making no immediate effort to advance. He was falling backwards. There's no way he was advancing. That's all I got to say about that. Better luck next week. We take it to Seattle. Take care of business next week. 1 week at a time. Go Pack, go.
Yeah, dude. I mean, rough game, but on we march, you know. I don't panic about this one. I think maybe panic is a wrong word, but if we lose this coming Sunday, it's kind of like, all right, that sucks a little bit more. It might not sting as much because it's not the Lions and probably not going to have Seahawks fans come swarming and talking trash. In fact, it'll be Lions fans again, which will make me hate them even more. But it'll be more consequential in terms of, all right, we gotta stop that with the losing. let's steer. I mean, we're still likely to go to the playoffs for sure. But gotta knock that crap off. You know what I'm saying? But onward.
Ryan, Raider McCready again. Yeah, maybe I lied. I'm a little mad about that whole knee down thing. If he was really down, that is what we're all seeing here. I'm not saying we were going to win. I mean, we only had 30-some, almost 40 seconds. But we were starting to play better, so there's that. And overtime. So, yeah, it sucks. Potentially, definitely cost us the game. I mean, yeah, they kicked the field goal and got the points. It cost us the game. But, man, I hope that is just the Packers need to send that 10,000 times into the NFL. It needs to get leaked out and posted everywhere. And this is all, of course, if that is the rule. If it's not the rule, whatever. But I mean, we are reading what we're reading. So, go back up.
Yeah, and again, I'm completely over that. I just want there to be some acknowledgement, which there won't be, but it would be great if the NFL Rules Committee, the whatever it is, comes out and they're like, yeah, we're going to just add a word to this, right? Whatever word it is, intentional, if you want to add that, or giving himself up is more than a word, but just put something in there so we can put this to bed. Because as long as you don't, I understand. It's not that it should have. I get it. I know that's not what you meant, but you're still wrong. So I'd like you to fix it. I just want you to fix it. Just come out and be like, whoops, put in a couple words, be like, that's what we meant, and then we'll move on. You know what I mean? Just saying.
Beer Chief Benny here. What's up, Brian?
What's up?
Man, I am still just so fired up over this bullcrap reffing. I mean, I listen. Normally I can get over it, but this one was bad. I'm not going to be talking about that anymore. But what I want to talk about is our linebackers. It almost seems like we live and die by the linebackers. And right now, ours are not very good. How bad do the Packers think that Tyron Hopper is? How much worse could he be than what we have right now? McDuffie, not our future. Quay, he sucks. Eric Wilson, okay, he's stepped up. I mean, I don't know. But he was Tyron Hopper, a top 100 pick 8 months ago. He can't be that bad, dude. Also, I don't know if I mentioned this earlier in my other calls, but they elevated Kalen King. I don't know if he was on special teams or what, but what? Another guy who I'm pretty sure, I don't know if he was a top 100. No.
I mean, this is just something we got to learn. I mean, this has been happening since forever. I mean, you can go back however many decades you want. This is just the way it goes. We get more excited about these guys than everybody else. Guys like Kalen King, guys like Tyron Hopper are not ready, and the coaches don't trust them. That's the biggest thing. It's not like they're not ready in terms of talent. It's just they don't trust that they're going to be able to execute what I'm telling them to do. So, they will rather have Quay Walker do the right thing and miss a tackle than have Tyron Hopper be a good tackler or a good blitzer or whatever it is. But half the time they call in plays, he doesn't know where to go. He doesn't know where to stand. He doesn't know who to cover. He doesn't know how to work with the coaches do not want to deal with that crap. Also, again, as I said, we are way more hyped up about these guys than they are. Kalen King and Tyron Hopper had good, training camps. Nobody cares. That does, I don't know. So, look, when they brought in Kalen King, the assumption that like he's going to play now and he's going to be the new future and all that. No, he was depth. That's it. He is still behind Stokes, which I know is going to annoy everybody, but that's the way it is. That's probably the way it's going to stay. The only way that changes is if there are enough injuries, or if they decide to maybe put him out there once or twice just to see how it goes, and he really flashes, and then it's one of those they slowly start to give him more. But it's really unlikely outside of those scenarios that he ends up anything other than a depth piece behind the guys that we don't like. And that goes for Tyron Hopper too. He's going to be behind Wilson, he's going to be behind McDuffie, he's going to be behind Quay, and he's going to be behind Edgerrin. So unless there are enough injuries to put the guy out there, and I've seen other people complain about, oh, what a bust of a pick, he can't even get on the field. He's the number, 5 linebacker. How does the number 5 linebacker get on the field? It's not a bust pick. There's no snaps for him. But, look, it's their rookie season, and they don't have to force him out there. If we didn't have any linebackers, they might have to force him out. That happens at times. That's not the situation. We have way too many linebackers. And just because you and I and everybody else get kind of annoyed with the way some guys play on some plays, doesn't mean they're going to say, screw that guy, sit him, and put in Tyron Hopper, even though that guy knows the playbook inside and out, and Tyron Hopper doesn't know what the hell he's doing. This is more or less, unless they have to put him out because of a bunch of injuries, it's a redshirt year for these guys. And even then, it's going to be tough, because guess what? They're going to come back next year. It's going to be the same, well, maybe not exact same, but a lot of the same guys that are going to be ahead of them. And even Kalen King, like, well, Stokes will be gone. Yeah, they're going to get somebody else, though. So he's still going to remain buried. And same for Tyron Hopper. It's kind of like people who are hyping up Samori Toure because, that guy's going to be something great or whatever. And it's like, well, he's buried, and he remains buried. And then eventually they just give up and he's gone. And that's maybe not Tyron Hopper because he's a 3rd-round pick, but that's the way that a lot of these guys end up going. So the idea that they're going to come in and save the season this year, I don't see much of a path for that, to be very honest with you.
He was like a 7th-round pick, wasn't he? Well, anyways, regardless, why is he not getting reps? I mean, I get this is a divisional game, a big game. You don't want to put a rookie. I mean, but what do we have to lose? This game didn't mean anything to us. Like, we're still going to be in the playoffs. It doesn't matter if we lose. It was all for, pride, basically. And
if we win enough, we might see these guys week 18, whatever, to 17. Final week of the season, if we're resting people, these guys might actually get some opportunities, and then we'll get to see them. Either they're going to suck and be like, oh, that's why they don't play, or they might actually be good, in which case we're just going to be really frustrated because there's no chance those guys are starting in the playoffs. It's not going to happen. And then we're really going to get pissed.
Things harder for Detroit, I guess, and harder for the division. And, maybe for us to get closer to locking up a playoff spot, but come on, man. I just feel like we're not utilizing who we have. And they're either not playing or not utilizing them right. And I'm just so baffled, man. I really am. But let me know what you think. I'm going golfing today, dude, and I'm just going to try to relieve the stress and hit bombs with my driver and just pretend that it's freaking Dan Campbell's freaking face when I hit the ball. Or that it's any Lions player, really. Those dirty bastards. They're a dirty team, and they cheat. They're the new Chiefs. They're the NFC Chiefs. That's what they are. So, congrats, Lions. You had the refs on your side. I'm so glad, dude. Well, Dan Campbell, your ass is going to be stupid in the playoffs, and it's going to cost you. And the Packers will beat you in the NFC Championship. I think. I don't know. But anyways, I'm going to go golfing today, relax. It's going to be freaking cold, though, here in South Carolina, like 47 degrees. But that's kind of cold here, dude, for golfing. So I don't know, dude. But either way, I'm going to be just relaxing, drinking with my boys, and playing golf. It'll be fun. Go Pack, go.
Well, that's good. It's good you're getting out doing stuff, doing more than I am. It's cold outside. It's actually nice today, and I squandered the day. If I'd have known, I would have had meat ready to go. It's just going to get colder now. And then I'm just going to have that as my excuse. I got meat thawing, though, so there's no excuses. You got to do what you got to do. But yeah, that would be my only advice for everybody is just do not get your hopes up for these guys to just come in and just save the season. They're not going to. It's not going to happen, right? And this happens every single year. You got somebody that is sort of like an off-season hero, and then the starter is not good in the regular season, and we all want the off-season hero to come in, and they never do. So if we don't get our hopes up for those things, and we just recognize that that's how the Packers operate, and that's the way it normally goes. And by the way, they're usually right, because eventually either they play and they suck, or they just never play, and then they go get cut, and we're like, why did they cut me so good? And then they just disappear, and they never end up on another football team again, and that's kind of how you realize that they weren't that good. Not saying these aren't great players. If they are, they'll find their way on the team at some point. I don't think it's going to happen this year. Pending, again, injury or, other people are, there are very, very narrow ways that this happened. I don't think, especially as we push toward the playoffs, that they're going to take that big of a gamble. All right, we'll take our first break, and then we got Steve in Alaska.
Hey, Ryan. Steve up in Alaska. Hope everything's going well with you. I know we're coming off that crappy Detroit game. This next day, I just got done listening to your podcast from after the game. I agree with you. Everybody should take a little time and calm themselves down and think about what all they saw. But even with that, looking back at it, I got to agree with you. I thought the officiating was lopsided. I get, you said it yourself, I get officials saying, hey, we're going to let them play, we're going to let things go. But yeah, there was a number of things that were just, I don't know, it was just blatantly obvious that they should have made calls. That the rush on Goff when, you saw the center or the right tackle pull our guy back, even on the replay, which if you watch, they didn't even really show the replay. They cut it just as you see our guy go back, and then they don't show it again. There's times when I watch how they cut the game and they show highlight, go back and re-show plays, where I really think that the guys up in the booth are protecting the officials so people can't see how badly the officials are making mistakes, because that should have been shown. Somebody should have seen that and said, hey, what about this? The pick play, which wasn't a pick play, because they re-show it, and you're right. You can see him trying to work around the guy. You watch Watson trying to work around him. His defender is on his right shoulder, kind of nudging him back over. You watch the defender that he quote unquote picked leaning his way. They created the pick, and we get called for it. Which who does that? Who takes the defensive side on that? The league is always taking the offensive player's side on that, and they're not doing. Yeah, there was just a lot.
Well, it is funny too, because you watch, and there was a Chiefs. I mean, it's not the exact same situation, but it's similar. It was a pretty controversial call that went in favor of the Chiefs, which I thought actually probably should have gone in favor of the Chiefs. But the Chiefs receiver basically ran right through the defender, plowed him over, and knocked him down, and then got open. And it's like, I mean, my understanding anyways is you have to get out of their way, right? I mean, you can't just like stand there and block them and then be like, oh, you knocked me over. It's like, no, you can't. That's pass interference. Okay, so let's apply that. The same thing that happened with the Chiefs, where in this case you had an offensive player deliberately plow right through somebody and knock them down. I understand that we're dealing with different things where it comes to like the whole pick thing, but if you have a defender that blasts into a wide receiver, is that not pass interference? I mean, obviously it wasn't intentional, or I mean, it could have been, but let's just say it wasn't. It doesn't matter. You've got a defender on the other side in that Chiefs game that's sitting there playing defense, and the Chiefs player digs right into his chest and knocks him down. And it's like, whoa, defender. You can't be blocking his path like that. That's pass interference. Okay. But yet the Packers guy gets blamed as he tries to jump out of the way and gets knocked into. He got blasted off of his route. I'm sorry, that's pass interference. I'm just saying. I
was disappointed in our offensive line because I especially early on in the game, how they couldn't stop anybody. I'm upset with Love because I know we're all talking about it. You guys is great talent, but I'm starting to really question the guy's his thought process going through things. There was that flea flicker play. I thought, oh, flea flicker, and the clock in my head is throw the ball, throw the ball, throw the ball, and he's standing there and he panics and the play goes to hell, and then they show it from behind Love, and you can see the receiver coming over open. You can see where the gap is that he's going to be in. Just throw the ball. That's all you got to do. Just throw the ball.
Yeah.
But there's other times when you watch him play and guys are coming at him.
3-minute monster got him. Steve, come on back.
All right, the thing got me. But yeah, watching him throw off his back foot when there's a little pressure in his face, and people are like, oh, there was so much pressure that, the announcers, there's so much pressure, he had to roll on his back foot. No, he didn't. He could have stayed on his feet, planted, thrown forward. You're going to take the hit, but you can throw a clean throw. And then there was that crappy play at the end zone where he just, I don't know what he was throwing the crap. You just toss it up high and let it drop down, let the receiver run underneath it. The guy's 6 inches taller than his defender. He can just jump up in the air and pull it out in the air. It's easy touchdown instead he's stuck with a field goal. I don't know, man. I don't know. I think we'll be okay. I'm still happy so far with the way the season looks. We'll get another couple wins. We'll get in the playoffs. Hopefully we win a playoff game and then we'll see what happens from there. But yeah, it was disappointing how the officials called that game. And again, I'm not a big blame it on the officials guy, though I am fair and honest in saying that the officials can decide games by what they do. I don't care what anybody wants to say about you shouldn't put yourself in that position. Well, we wouldn't have been if they had made their proper calls and done their job right. And they didn't do their job right.
Right, and it's I already addressed that before, but I really think I probably have said it before, but I really do think that that's a stupid thing to say. Well, don't let it be close enough that it's down to the officials. That's ridiculous. Why should a team have to win by 2 scores in order to win a game when most of these games are coming down to single digits? Why are we required to do that? Why is the onus on the Packers as opposed to the refs doing the refs' job? The Packers now have to score, 10 points to compensate for ref negligence? That doesn't seem right. What kind of a silly notion is that? It's nonsense. And again, in a game like this, especially as critical as this, against an opponent like this, you're telling me that it's incumbent on the Packers to win by 2 scores against the number 1 team in football, rather than just say, gee golly, wish the refs would have done their job because we probably would have won. Why not put the responsibility on the people who actually made the mistakes? Yeah, no, I'm not doing that.
It's just upsetting. So we'll have to hang on and see what goes on. We got this game coming up with Seattle, which I'm going to go down. I'm going to fly down to Seattle. I'm going to see that with a buddy of mine. He's a Seahawks fan. Got tickets for the game and to go to that game. Hopefully that's a better game. I don't want to go to a game and see us start a game out like we did this game. I don't know. Oh, by the way, I don't like how we started the game. I know you could say, that very first play, you watch him fake that handoff to Jacob, and there was a massive hole there. A massive hole. He should have just hand the ball off. Let's just hand the ball off and start out punching him in the face. We tried throwing the ball and getting, I don't know what to say about it, man. I'm second day frustrated. We shouldn't have lost that game. We should have been able to win that game. It was just ridiculous. But anyway, man, hope the whole Packer world out there is doing all right. You all take care of yourselves, and we will talk to you after the Seahawks game, most likely, all right? Go Pack.
Yeah, I've purged a lot of details at this point on what exactly happened. It's all fuzzy at this point, but, as far as Jordan, I mean, he's clearly not where we want him to be. I am encouraged by the fact that we're starting to see some of those really good throws, and it's been a while since we've seen some of those what the heck was that throws. So we're trending in the right direction. That's all I can ask.
Hey, Ryan, this is Jersey Mike. I know this has probably been beaten dead into the ground.
Oh, here we go.
Killed, slaughtered,
Here we go.
rolled over, turned to soil, brought back to life, and then killed again.
Don't do it.
But anyway, all Lions fans and every single person who is arguing that Jared Goff's eye rule wasn't down, the last time I checked, going to a knee and handing the ball off backwards is not the definition of going to a knee and advancing the ball. They're all French because they think that advancing in the wrong direction or advancing in the opposite direction of the enemy is something instead of just calling it what it is. Retreating. Because y'all don't understand English. Anyway, go Pack Go.
Yeah, it is dead. That's all I can say. It's dead. So I'll let you have hopefully the final word on that one.
Hey, Ryan, it's Craig from Indiana. It's
Hey.
Friday after our loss last night to the Lions. I wasn't totally upset. You know, I just wanted to play them tough. Obviously, would like to have won, and we definitely had the chance to. Really, the biggest disappointments for me were the referees, which you already talked about. That was just so bad. And second, the offensive line, when I knew their defensive line and linebackers were pretty decimated, I thought they had a good strategy. I mean, they were just often coming kind of right at us. And I think, again, it caught us off guard. I don't know what was happening with the pass protection the first half of the game. Jordan was under duress a lot. So that was disappointing, the O-line. And I'm not sure how we shore that up going forward with, I think, Morgan's out for the whole year. Not that he's the answer, but need to do something about that longer term. And but we came back with a vengeance, and we just couldn't stop them when we needed to. But I feel very confident that we can beat that team if we get back to playing them in the playoffs, even at Detroit. So just gotta again quit beating ourselves with stupid penalties, and you know, I just think some overall better play calling in that first half. I'm not sure why we weren't running it more. But overall, you know, we played them tough, and again, not afraid of them at all. We just got to clean some stuff up. But we definitely need to win a couple next games going forward and get into the playoffs. Thanks. Take care. Go Pack Go.
Yeah, and I'm marginally confident. I mean, I'm scared because I understand the implications of losing this game against Seattle, which of course is very possible. It's not the most likely thing, but you know, just like any given game, you're talking 55%. So, but I do feel generally positive. I think when you look at what the Packers have done, if you're just being rational about it, they've decimated teams. And they did lose to the Lions, but it was unbelievably close. And again, for the billionth time, if the refs had done their job properly, the Packers almost assuredly win that game. And the Packers did it in a half for the most part. They didn't show up for a half. So do I feel like pending some kind of implosion from the Packers, we're going to handle business moving forward? Yeah. Vikings will be a tough challenge for sure. And, you know, the odds that they lose a game, at least, moving forward, I mean, it's certainly likely. But at the end of the day, I like the direction we're going. I like that, I don't even want to mention health necessarily, but, you know, assuming, you know, when you look at the timelines, you have to assume Jair will be back and Jordan Morgan will be back and Musgrave will be back and, you know, Marshawn Lloyd will be back for whatever it's worth. Hopefully Romeo will be back. Edgerrin will be back. If I didn't say that already. There might be other injuries that come up, but I don't know, man. I just think that the team has proven, you know, they've struggled against some of the top teams, but this team has proven that up against most of these challenges, they've met it with relative ease. You know, again, 49ers and Miami and all that. I mean, they cut through them like they didn't exist. So keep going, keep building. I'm feeling all right. Let's take our final break. We got a bunch of Kyle. Kyle's probably just going to be the rest of the third portion. We'll take a break. We'll be right back.
Ryan, Kyle from Madison, what's up? It's a moral victory Friday. No, I don't know what we're calling it. I was going to call you last night after the game, but I honestly, I just didn't even know what I thought. I had to kind of marinate on this one a little bit. I was very conflicted. Because we played really well also in stretches. Like, there was several times where they showed the, yardage and things. And we were literally to the yard even, with the Lions. That was a very evenly matched game. And basically the difference was the home team came out by 3, which is, about what the home team comes out with, in Vegas at least. Very evenly matched. Look, 2 things decided this game. One, just the utter atrocious play of the offensive line in the first quarter. It completely submarined the offense. And we basically just kind of like spotted them a quarter, which would have made the difference. I don't understand how they could come out and play that badly. Give Detroit credit. I thought the offensive line play got better, thankfully, and we got rolling a little bit. And then also, look, defense, man. I know they put a lot of pressure on a defense going for it, like the madman that Dan Campbell is. But you got to punish them more than once in 5 tries or whatever it was.
Right.
I mean, they had an 80% success rate on 4th down. You got to get one more stop. I'm sorry, but you got to get one more. You get one more stop, you win the game. So there was a lot of things that were really 50-50 that happened to go the Lions' ways, and a lot of people not happy about the officiating. Yeah, it wasn't great. I don't personally care. You got to win the game. What I'll say is this, man. Actually, I got to give you a call back 1 second here.
Actually, this one's only 2 seconds long. Let's see what this one is here. I think you're just having a lot of issues with your phone. That one's 15 seconds. This one's 37 seconds. Nope. All right. We're skipping a bunch of Kyles here. How about this one?
Sorry about that, man. I keep getting dropped. I don't know if it's my end or what your end, but anyway, what I was going to say is, as hard as it is to admit, I think what serves the team better in the long run is losing this game. Okay? So let me explain. If we won, we're going to overlook a lot of things, and we're going to feel like we arrived. And I just don't think we've arrived. I'm sorry. There's just too many issues. Now, we were right there with the Lions. I mean, we absolutely belong right there. Okay?
Yep.
But there are some things on this team that I think don't get worked on how they need to be if we want to reach our goal if we win that game. You know what I mean? And also, I just don't think that it was going to ever happen where we catch the Lions. So, I don't know. I didn't want a situation where we win, we think we arrive, but ultimately we never catch them, and then we see them again in the playoffs having thought that we've arrived, and they beat us. To me, this is better for the long-term possibilities of this team, which I know is an odd thing to say for a loss being better, but I just don't want us to lose a mental edge. I want the Packers to still just be so, just heartache when they play the Lions. I want them to be enraged about these last 2 games. I think it gives them a better chance to beat them in the playoffs. We know it's hard to beat a team 3 times. So, yeah, it sucks, but we're right there with them. And ultimately, I really do think this is the 3rd best team in the NFC. I think you got the Eagles, and I think you got the Lions above the Packers. I think the Packers are a notch above the Vikings. And to me, it's kind of it might be an unjust result through the game flow, but in the scale of the NFC, I think the Packers are number 3 right now. But I do think they could potentially be much more than that. And if they win this game, it's going to just kind of soothe over all the rough spots. Look, they've got issues. They played pretty good. Had an outstanding, second half with some issues. Look, hey, Halfley, bro, you've got to blitz him at the end of the game, man. Worst thing that happens is he fires a frickin' touchdown and you get the ball back. Like, you got to blitz him at the end there. You got to sell out. Try and get him to throw, whatever. Like, I don't understand the defensive calls there, but overall, this team did a lot of great things. They look a little bit immature. Like, they look a little bit young compared to Detroit. Detroit's a year ahead of us. I think we can beat them in the playoffs. I think losing this game gives us a better chance to beat them when it counts. But it was still a fantastic game. Go Pack, go.
That's not the craziest thing I've ever heard in terms of what you were saying earlier on. The fact that, maybe the more painful path is the best path. It's not impossible that losing was the better overall result. And the reason would be, as you said, if you win, you go on thinking that you're where you need to be. If you lose, you don't really lose anything except a little bit of pride, but nothing changes in the long run except a hard look in the mirror and some needed changes and whatnot. Not saying that's definitely what's going to happen, but it's not an impossible scenario that potentially is what's going to play out. We'll see.
And I I want to clean up my point here. I know I've had some connectivity issues. I apologize for the scattershot calls here, but why I think why it was better for us to lose in this situation, okay? Had we won, everybody in the media would be crowning us except for maybe, Philadelphia maybe have the nod. There'd be an awful lot of incredibly good press.
And with what just happened between Philadelphia and the Panthers, yeah, Packers might be looked at as top dog right now.
About the Packers. And while I think that's super fun as a fan, I would have loved it and all that, the Packers are very close to as good as the Lions right now. They're not as good as the Lions. They're still a little bit behind. Not much. That's about as even as you can play them, but I do think, they're not as good, okay? They're just not. Our defensive performance wasn't good enough. The offensive line early wasn't good enough. They've got things to work on. If we win this game, everybody's going to crown the Packers and kiss our butts. And I just don't think I don't see how that's helpful for anything.
Well, and let's be honest, as much as we can look at it and say we're right there and we easily could have won the game, if we win the game, all those things that you're saying are true. Packers are the best and da-da-da-da-da. Do you feel good about seeing them in the playoffs, though? I mean, of course you're going to, we beat them once, we could do it again kind of thing, but you're going to look back at that game and go, I don't know, dude. that very easily could have gone the other direction. So, again, it doesn't change what happens in the future. It doesn't change who's more likely to win the next time around, as far as who actually won and who actually lost.
Logically, I want a chip on our shoulder going into the playoffs. I want LaFleur to be able to play the nobody believes in us card, or we've seen these guys before, they don't respect you card. I want the Lions to psychologically lose a little bit of an edge over the Packers, which I don't think Campbell will allow a huge part of it, but I do think the Lions are going to think that they're owed, if they play the Packers again, they're going to think that they've got the edge on that. I think the fans will tell you they don't want anything to do with playing the Packers again, but but
I don't think so. I think you were right initially, and just stand on that, because I think you're right. Last year they all said I don't want to see the Packers. This year I don't think Amon-Ra is going to be saying I don't want to see them again. I think going into the postseason, maybe he will. Maybe there'll be some being humble or whatever. And if the Packers really start to step it up, that might be the case. But I think if the playoffs were today, I don't think Amon-Ra would be saying I don't want to see the Packers. They'd be saying bring them on. We'll take them out. And the fans, you give me a break. The fans are absolutely going to be talking that trash about, dude, we smoked you twice. It's not even you're not even the team we're worried about. And you're right. That probably is 2-hour advantage. So I do think that is going to be a big difference from last year.
I think had the Packers won this, I don't believe they had a realistic shot at the 1 seed ever. It doesn't help them. I don't think they had a realistic shot at the division. I think it only gives them a big ego and maybe takes the pressure off them needing to work on fine-tuning elements of their team that just are maybe 10% less effective than some of these NFC rivals. So while it sucks, I think this gives them a great reason to see how close they are. Go back, keep working. Now they've got if they can win 8 games now in a row, they win the Super Bowl, right? So now I do think being undefeated the rest of the season's in play. And I don't think it's going to change very much their standings. I would like to see them leapfrog the Vikings just for seeding, but I think in this case, having lost, having something to prove going forward, as much as it sucks right now, will be the best thing for them going forward. Okay, as strange as that is, I don't like this team. If they would have thought that they're better, and I just could see them dropping that game in Seattle, and maybe we will anyway. But I prefer us feeling jaded, pissed off, chip on our shoulder. So some really great things in this game, some not so good things, some things to work on, but a lot of things to be hopeful about too. So let's keep it moving upwards. Let's keep improving, gang. This team can get there. It is still possible. Everything's still on the table. So, all right. Have a great weekend.
But I really think, has good timing, I really think the Packers offense is underrated. And I think I've mentioned this before. I think a big part of the reason is because a lot of it is driven through the run game. And whether that be the national media or as Packer fans, we don't really acknowledge that as being as valuable or looking as flashy or whatever. When you watch, Jordan struggling and the drops, and it doesn't look as high powered. This is as difficult to stop of an offense as the Packers have had in a long time, and that's why they're doing as well as they are. That's why this is rated as one of the top offenses in football. In fact, I haven't checked it, but I can't imagine it got worse after we put up that many points against Detroit. Yeah, they actually moved up to third ahead of Detroit on offense. They are the third best offense. It is Baltimore, which is so unbelievably far ahead, we're never going to catch them. Buffalo, which is pretty far ahead, it's going to be tough to catch them. We're at 19, they're at 22. Maybe that's doable. Baltimore's at 35%. We stepped ahead of Detroit as the third best offense at 19%. Detroit is 17.4. It's a very good offense. It just is. We're going up against the 16th best offense in Seattle. It's not to discount Seattle. A lot of people are talking about them the same way that people talked about Miami, like they're really on a freaking tear right now. And maybe, I don't know, but it's a whole different animal. And I think knock on wood, I think we really discount how difficult to stop this offense is when you have a balanced attack with the run, which is really impressive, the pass, which can be really impressive, and Matt LaFleur, who's doing a really good job of scheming the run game and the pass game. It's just a heck of a combination that people are struggling with a lot. By the way, Green Bay is now the third best team in football via DVOA. It's Detroit number 1, then Baltimore, then Green Bay, ahead of Buffalo, ahead of Philly, and ahead of Minnesota, and ahead of Kansas City and San Francisco and every other jag-off team. Houston, Pittsburgh, Arizona, blah, blah, blah. Where is Seattle? It must be up here somewhere. 15th overall. They were 18th last week, so they are jumping up. Green Bay went from 5th to 3rd after that performance. So, again, just to kind of reinforce what I was saying before, with everybody talking, that's how this team can't do it. This team isn't good enough. This team lost. Da, da, da. Understand that this team, your impression of this team should have gone up after this game. They exceeded the expectation of Vegas. They exceeded the expectation of a lot of people who thought the Packers are frauds and going to get destroyed by Detroit. It exceeded what DVOA said that they were, which is why they jumped up. I mean, across the board, even in a loss, I think the vast majority of people out there that are being objective and honest, their opinion of Green Bay went up, and ours should too, even if just marginally. And again, as we sit here and we can talk about the disappointment, and we can talk about, well, this isn't quite good enough, and this, you're right. That's disappointing, and that sucks, and this isn't good enough, and hopefully this gets better, and all of that. But here's the context. Whatever issues we have, according to DVOA, they're less than Buffalo's issues, less than Philadelphia's issues, which is part of the context I'll bring up tomorrow, the complete dysfunction and whatnot that's going on in Philadelphia. Less issues than Minnesota, as much as Minnesota looks tough and Sam Darnold is looking good and all that stuff. Their offense ranks 14th. With Darnold playing well, with Justin Jefferson, with a really intelligent, offensive-minded head coach, with all that stuff, they're 14th. We're 3rd on offense. And the defense, the defense is frustrating. But couple points on the defense. Number one, the run defense, as I've said 1,000 times now, the run defense was actually unbelievably impressive in that game, and I do not want us to let that get past us. Number two, I thought the corners and safeties played really well. Keyshawn was targeted a ton, but not a lot of production. Stokes gave up a touchdown that was literally all he gave up all day. It was a 1-yard touchdown. The linebacker issue is a massive issue, whether that's schematic or the players or something, I don't know. Here's the other thing to keep in mind. The Green Bay Packers defense right now ranks 11th, which is significantly better than any Packers defense we've probably had in a while. Maybe there's one that ranked decent in the last 5 years or something, I don't know. Their weighted rank, which means looking more recently, is actually 10th. Do you know where they ranked as of last week? 13th. They jumped from 13th to 10th after that performance. Whether that's because it's Detroit or because everybody else fell off, I don't know. It doesn't matter. DVOA has this as essentially the 10th best defense and the 3rd best offense. And we're seeing improvements across the board in terms of players and also production like run defense, which we've never freaking had ever. They're currently listed as having the 10th best pass defense and 10th best rush defense. You asked for a top 10 defense. Technically, as of today, according to DVOA, you got it. I'm not dismissing all the other issues, and of course I would like continued growth from basically everybody. I don't know that there's anybody on the team that I'm like, that guy has got it locked in, just stay where you are. I don't think there's one. Maybe Josh Jacobs, maybe. I'm sure he's got another gear in there somewhere, but for the most part, he's pretty good. Aside from that, Zach Tom, maybe you're good, just hang in there. Everybody else I could use a boost from. Defense in particular, I don't think there's anybody. I mean, Jair's good if we could just get him back. Everybody else, I either need more or I need more consistency. But I don't want to go into next week or whatever else thinking, man, we lost. We're like maybe the 11th best team, or, you know, we got this 20th ranked defense and maybe like the 10th best offense. Nope. 3rd best team in football, 3rd best offense, top 10 defense. And improving, offense and defense improving as we move toward the playoffs. And other teams begin to spiral. Philadelphia falling off a cliff. Kansas City just waiting to implode. I can't wait for that to be a first frickin', I don't know if it's going to be a round exit because they'll probably end up getting a bye for some stupid reason because they refuse to lose games. Hopefully Buffalo wins out and Kansas City starts losing a couple so they don't get a first round bye and they can get a first round exit, and I will just laugh hysterically. But anyways, lots to be excited about. I'm going to get out of here. You guys have a good rest of your night. I don't have a Santa song for you today just for the sake that it's 10:17 and I really need to get this uploaded. But expect that to be on the docket and continuing in the near future. The holiday season shall continue. Have a good night.